I've been spending the better part of the last 12 weeks preparing for a personal challenge of mine. I like to call it the Kettlebell challenge. More recently, I've been referring to it as a marathon of power. It involves a kettlebell. This time around it'll be a 106-pound kettlebell. And what I'll basically be doing is an Olympic lift with a little flip rotation. I catch the bell with the handle side down, and then I throw it as far forward as I can. And then I walk up, I advance to it, and I pick it up and repeat that process. The catch is I'll be doing that for 2.7 miles from the Venice Pier to the Santa Monica Pier, which will take me approximately 5 to 5.5 hours with an estimated 1,500 plus repetitions. And the reason I can come to that rough estimate is because in 2010, I did cover that distance with a 100-pound kettlebell in 4 hours, 49 minutes, and 4 seconds with a total of 1,514 throws. My motivation, again, for doing this challenge is really to rally up some support for this thing that I'm very excited to share, which is a spin-off of Free Flow Dough. Hi, my name is Kappel LeRoy Clarke. I've been in sports and fitness training now for 23 years. I am known in my field as the creator of Free Flow Dough.
Good morning to Lynn and Craig. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm busting a move here, Craig. It's called Free Flow Dough, and this is called a launch pad.
It's not a treadmill, it's a launch.
It's a launch pad.
It looks a little bit like a launch pad.
And if you don't respect it, it will launch you, you know what.
Go! Nice.
Let's do it, baby! Come on, Kappel. End it with a big one right now. Watch this, guys. Woo! That's right.
Free Flow Dough is a training system and philosophy. It means living life on the path upon which freedom flows. It takes place on the launch pads, which were designed specifically to create a dynamic environment that pulls people into the moment. Over the years, because of the exposure that it has received, largely due to more and more high-profile participants, including those in professional sports, it's created a level of interest that really motivated me to work on translating the philosophy and the benefits of Free Flow Dough in a more accessible format, which is a product and training system that I've now developed over the past 2.5 years. I am on the verge of bringing that out. So to do that, I looked into different options to get funding for this, and I came across the crowdfunding platform known as Indiegogo.com. I created a campaign so that I could raise money to create the prototypes and cover all the legal expenses, including patents and trademark applications for the product. Having already gone through that process with Free Flow Dough, I know that it's just a matter of time, but I do need the support. To sweeten the pot a little bit, I decided that another way to convince people, if they weren't already convinced by what I have done so far, is to raise the bar a little bit and demonstrate what Free Flow Dough can do when you practice it over a period of time in a way that has nothing to do with the launch pads per se, but has everything to do with taking your mind and going through the fire, if you will. This new company that I formed called Performance Minded is based on integrity, is based on helping people by providing the tools and the training system and the method wherein you can develop a mindset to be able to do things that you might not even have considered possible.
Serious. I want to move on, bro. I mean, good season. One more week.
One more week.
Marathon of power. One more week. I think I'm ready for some breakfast.
As far as diet is concerned, I did make a change, but it wasn't a dramatic change. We've had this conversation before between my client and I. His name is Brian Weldell, who's actually the executive producer of a film called Forks Over Knives, which was the film that actually inspired me to give up red meat and poultry in the first place. I told him about, athletes and the conventional wisdom that suggests that the only way to perform, for an athlete to perform at a high level, especially in any activity that requires a lot of power and strength, is to eat that red meat. Well, clearly, if anyone's seen the stuff that I do, you know that that's completely false. But I figured something of this magnitude ought to catch people's attention. We actually had that conversation in week 2 of this 12-week training camp, and right there, that was it. I stopped having any kind of fish or animal-based product. The manner in which a marathon of power is connected to free flow dough is very direct. Both require you to be fully engaged in the moment. A lot of people can scratch the surface of focus and get in and out of it. But to do something like this, you have to get there and stay there. So it's endurance, it's stamina on a whole other level. And it's not just about the size, it's not just about the muscle. I mean, it really speaks to what you can do when you set your mind on a particular goal, and then you do the work and you make the sacrifices and you respect the process that will get you there. Sports and fitness training, typically you are either training for power or you're training for endurance. The two energy systems are usually treated very, very separately. So this was a very unique type of event which required some out-of-the-box thinking.
Kappel is amazing in that he gets every last ounce of energy out of you. Every time you come here, it's a completely different workout. You never know what to expect. Even when you get a little bit out of your zone, he's so spiritual and philosophical that he brings you down into what he calls a poker face, where you just calm down, you regain your focus, and you just get your mind over the physical constraints of your body. So he's amazing in just getting you to excel, to do your very best. And that's what he commands you to get 110% every single time. Now I'm smiling. I've gone through some medical challenges myself. I was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago, and I thought I had it beat. And unfortunately came back about a year ago in my lungs. And I had surgery. Fortunately for me, I've been clear for a year, but been able to work here at the studio and having the ability to have Kappel continue to challenge me through this difficult time for me, keeping myself in physically top shape, also on the mental side to just keep pushing. I think it's been a big part of my recovery, and so I really owe a lot to him for just continuing to push me even through a difficult time like that. I think one of the interesting things about free flow dough is that there's so many applications outside of the gym here. I'm a very avid tennis player. I play 2 to 3 times a week. And one of the challenges I have in my game is I play a little heavy. So my feet are a little bit like in concrete, so I'll hit a forehand, I'm kind of stuck. It takes a second to get moving toward the next shot. So being here in the gym and doing free flow dough, you learn how to be much more fluid, much lighter on your feet. And I've seen a tremendous improvement in my tennis game because as you hit your forehand or backhand, you're already anticipating the next shot. So I find that I'm like a step to 2 faster on the court than I've ever been, and it's made a phenomenal difference because you're in a much better position to hit the ball, and you absolutely gain tremendous stamina here because you're pushing yourself to limits that you didn't think your body could attain. And so when you take it out of here into other sports, you are able to push yourself to places that you hadn't been able to go before.
I'm pretty sure and I'm hopeful that after people see something like this, that maybe more people will be inspired to do something like this. What will really be exciting to me is to read the paper one day or get online and see that somebody did 2.7 miles in, a half hour, quicker than I did. Because then that means you just set something in motion. And I think when you get past the excitement of being the first to do something and you really are more focused on sharing what you know with people, that's really the high. It's like any teacher student. The teacher isn't usually upset by the student that passes them. It's that student that passes the teacher actually validates the teacher.
And that's how I met Kappel, because he was sitting next to me on an airplane, and all they had left to eat was the 3 pasta ravioli, which I ordered. And then I noticed this guy sitting next to me had the nerve to open up his own little box of sushi. So then I couldn't eat. Then I felt like, okay, now I'm eating like a pig. I'm eating badly, and this guy's clearly eating correctly. So we talked the whole way back on the plane about fitness and his gym here and his style of training. And I said, well, I'll come because I don't live far from here. And then what happened within, honestly, 3 or 4 months is my boxing coach just said to me, I don't know what you've been doing because your footwork is like fantastic and your breathing is different. I said, yeah, I've been training with a fellow down the street who's fantastic. I'm not a dancer, I'm not an athlete, so I get caught up in my head. So you can't get caught up in your head when you're on these launch pads, for one thing. You can't get caught up in your head because you'll go off the launch pad, or you'll put your foot down, or you'll tighten up. And so it's another lesson in staying loose at the point of highest tension and frustration, where you might go, oh, I'm gonna fly off, or and you just learn to beat it out, step it out, keep bouncing, and it's, I think, miraculous in terms of that. It's a very deep life lesson. And so that's what he's teaching. You got to know who you are to stay on this thing and not go into your head. And then you're in tune with life, and you're in tune with what's happening in your moment. And when he does it, it's effortless, just like a Zen master. When he does it, it's like when he throws when he was throwing the kettlebell. It's 106 pounds, and until you've lifted 106 pounds and tried throwing it 3 times, you really don't know what that is, and he makes it look like it isn't that hard. And that's when you've mastered an art, is when it looks relatively simple and you don't see the work. You know, it's inspiring because it's authentic.
Going the wrong way.
Back down, back up
We've been together for a very long time, and I know that anytime he's always set his mind to do something, he always starts it and he sees it through and he finishes it. He actually had done this challenge a few years ago. We both did it. It really took him to a different place mentally as far as where you can take your body if you really put your mind and your focus on where you want it to be and not what you're feeling at the time. With this project that he has created and this product, it's gonna help people to do just that. And in it, the reason why he wanted to do this challenge is so that people can see that he doesn't only talk the talk, but he walks the walk. And if he says that you can do it because he did it first. And it doesn't have to necessarily be this, what he just did today. It could be anything in your life that you set your mind to. I'm really happy for all the supporters that came out today. The last time that we did it, there weren't many people that we really talked to about it, so this was like a really big deal for him today, and I can't say I'm very proud of him.
I'm very just inspired. All bias aside, like that he's my father, this is just incredible. He's worked really hard. Just a week ago I was here filming him going up and down training, and a week later he did his challenge, so this is incredible. And just seeing everyone's reaction along the way, you can tell everyone is just inspired by all of his hard work, and he deserves it. He's worked really hard for this. Well, one other thing that's really, really cool is that his poker face. It's just constant. I was just watching his face the whole time, and you wouldn't think that he, threw the distance that he did. So, yeah, I think, and that's important because you don't lose as much energy. It's all just mental and just really intense focus that he practices and preaches all the time.
What's also amazing about it is that there's so many carryovers into life. Like, it's not just like it's a lifestyle. Yeah, it's not a like training system. It's like it's a thought process. Like just like each moment connecting it with your breath and having that be available to you at any time so that you can do anything.
What impresses me, and then I'll go back to that, is that he does these things with no, like there's, it's only for self-growth and development, it seems like. Like there's no, you know, a lot of athletes, we want to win, be the world champion, or become professionals, or get paid for it, or win medals, or do, but it's his own self-growth and development, and that's what's, I think, even more impressive.
It's a mistake when people think that, well, I want to do the thing so I can get good enough so I don't feel uncomfortable anymore. Well, then you stop growing. You can maintain, but if you're not really being challenged, then you can't expect to go beyond that. So that's really what I'm trying to help people to do with Free Flow Dough. I try to make it creative, so the work is disguised sometimes as play, so it makes it more engaging. Right? So people, because it's more engaging, they'll be more consistent, and if you're more consistent, you'll be in it long enough to reap the benefit. You see? So this product that I'm raising money for in the Indiegogo campaign is so that I can, again, create a mass market version of Free Flow Dough, a spin-off of Free Flow Dough, so I can share this and put it in anyone's hands who wants an effective way of learning how to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. Doing things where, as you master your mind and express it in movement, you start to develop another level of control. That's simply expressing your movement. And of course, the byproduct again is you become more fit. You look more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. But that's not the goal. The goal is shifting the mindset.